Welcome, and we're back for the Traveller Solo Scout campaign. And the events of the last session gives me a chance now to go down another rabbit trail, which I'll explain here in a second. So the situation as we left was that the Intrepid had gone on the cube and met the Surans, who are tech level 10, we'll see. And basically they said, this is our planet. Go away, come back in 3 weeks, and the central government may have something here to talk to. So our crew obeyed orders and went back into their ship and started heading out to the jump point. The intent was to actually jump back to the scout base because we found another empire out here. So thought that information would definitely be needed. But as they left, the Surans had, at least one patrol ship lurking in the planetoid belt in lieu of a moon around our planet here, which then went to close escort and escorted them out to the jump point. And they were pretty indifferent about it. They were just like, okay, you got to go. We're only here to watch you go, and that's it. Now, when they did get to the jump point, they got a tight beam transmission from the Endurance, which had been lurking, to basically ask for information exchange and give them new orders saying, no, dude, don't return to base. We'll cover that. We want you to come over here. This system, we need to start mapping out what's close to our base here. So that were their orders. Now, I did roll a sensor roll high enough, ironically, that the Suran Patrol ship, I'm going to call it now, not system defense boat, you'll see why in a second, detected the Endurance, which is pretty good. So I had to roll for their action there, and their action was again indifferent. Basically said, hey, both of you, get the heck out of Dodge, okay? Don't come back for 3 weeks. Of course, put in more diplomatic terms. But there was a chance with the right roll and the right reaction that the Surans may have been surprised and reacted in a more hostile manner to the sudden appearance of this courier ship right on top of them that they didn't detect before. But now they got lucky and detected it, maybe is because of the transmission or activities of this ship. So I said, hey, there's a good chance let's work out High Guard here, Mongoose Traveller High Guard. Initially for building a ship, you'll see that here over in the spreadsheet to the left, but then I'm probably going to be able to do some combat here, mock runs of combat between these ships, a pair of 100-ton scouts versus a 200-ton patrol ship. The scouts are TL12 and the Surans are TL10, so we'll see how that works out. So with that said, let me pull this off here. So here is the High Guard system checklist. You basically work right through this. Pick the hull size, armor, any options, put the drives in, jump maneuver, power plant, then you got a feel for how much power plant you need, build that out. Fuel tanks if you're doing jump and or your maneuver drives are actually reaction based instead of the more advanced maneuver plates, I believe. Put a bridge in. They have options. Put the computer in, software, install the sensors, then time to pick some weapons here. And then you can do optional systems, which they do have a whole bunch. Then you calculate the crew needed, and that tells you how many staterooms that take up space, and then maybe there's some cargo space, hopefully left over to carry stuff. And then you finalize the design. So let's look at this. I ended up with 200 tons. I'm going to pick a small patrol craft. Initially I said it's going to be a system defense boat, but as I went through it I thought, well, let's just make it a jump one. So the first thing you decide is how big, and like I said, 200 tons. But then you had to pick a hull configuration, and standard boxy sphere closed structure. They've got pictures. But the the big draw of streamlined is it can operate in atmospheres. But it adds plus 20, we'll see, 20% down here to the volume used to pull off this streamlining. So this is an option. I don't know if it's listed. Yeah, reinforced hull by increasing the cost of a hull by 50. And I'm not worried about the price here. Maybe I should calculate it, but ship can have its hull points increased by 10%, and that's what we're going to see here. So normally the hull is calculated. Best I can gather is by doubling the tonnage. What did I do here? The hull. No, I used other starships as example. So let's see. Let me pull up starships here. I've got some examples now. Kind of reverse engineered that one. Didn't spend a lot of time looking for it. Hull, 100 tons. Let's use this one as an example. Scout carrier. You see it's 40. So logic says if I go to 200 tons, I should be 80, which is true. But oh wait, it's 88. But there's reinforced. So there's the 10%. So 200. So basically, this is the same as this ship. Reinforced 200 tons, 88 hull points. So we've got that. Next, we come down and install the armor. You have to pick the type of armor. Our friends here are TL10. So we get a 1.25 multiplier on tonnage. And your maximum protection is either your tech level or 13, whichever is less. Their tech level is 10, so we're going to max out the armor to 10. But instead of it being, let's see, and then you have to calculate it. No multiplier here. All right, I think I corrected this. Reading over here, after turning the basic hull protection modified by hull configuration. So we're at 10, we multiply 10 times 1.25 equals 12.5. And then we've got the 20% bump because we are streamlined. So we multiply 12.5 times 1.2 and we get 15 tons. And armor tonnage multiplier, this doesn't apply, we're at 100 plus. So I believe I got that one right, 15 tons. That means potentially we're at 170 now. I'll figure that out later. And we're at 30 here. Okay. So again, here's what we've done just to make sure I'm doing this right. I've got a base of 200 tons. I'm streamlined, which is going to increase my size. I'm reinforced, which increases my hull points and my cost. So I'm at 88 hull points. Maxing out the armor for tech level 10 with a 1.25 multiplier. So that takes us 12.5 reinforced, 20%, 15 tons of armor. All right, so, and we're not going to leverage any of the shielding here. It's something in stealth. You could do improved, but we're not going to do that. Next, we install the drives, right? And we've got, I went ahead and did do a J drive. Let's look at this, and that's some nice charts here, pretty straightforward. So we go to our tech level, which is 10. So we can have 2 or 3. So we'll go with thrust 3, 3G, which means it's 3% of the hull. Hopefully I did that right. 3% of the hull will be 246, and then I think you add 5 tons. So select desired jump score and the jump. Oh, and then we'll do jump later. I guess we add 5 tons. Or 5 tons. Okay. Okay, glad I'm going through this. Looks like I made another mistake here. So straight, again, tech level 10 is what's limiting our maneuver drive to 3G. 3% of the hull is 6, so we got 6 tons. Then we come down here, they're tech level 10, so they can only use jump 1, and actually this is good. Initially I had them at 11 and 12, but by having them at jump 1, tech level 10, that does give some realism to the fact that they haven't jumped perhaps to other places more than one away. Although with extra fuel they could do that. So how do we calculate the jump drive, J1? And it's basically percent of hull plus 5 tons. So I did that math wrong too. Let's see what we got here. We're going to do jump 1. That's 2.5% of the hull plus tons. So that would be 2 and 2 is 4 is 5 plus 5 is 10. So I see what I did. So 5 plus 5 is 10 tons. Okay. I think what I did was I applied the plus 5 to the one up here instead of down here. So I think it evens out. So now with this, we do have a feel for the power used by our units here. Come down here though, basic ship. This is, we'll see that later when we get to power. Well, here we go. Power requirements, basic ship systems. Amount of power needed for basic is 20% of the total tonnage of the hull. 20% of 200 is 40. Maneuver drive. In order to use a maneuver drive, ship requires power equal to 10% of the hull's tonnage multiplied by the thrust. Okay, so 10% of 200, but we've got 3G. That takes us to 60 for maneuver. And then the jump drive, I think it's the same thing, 10% of the hull times the J number, which is 1 in our case. So that's 20. So we're seeing here we got 120 so far. And then we'll go further. We'll see the sensors end up being 2. The weapons, when I put them in, end up being 12. So we're at 134. So what we have to do is come over to the power plant table here and pick. Now they can't do this. So you see the Fusion TL12 is more efficient per ton than the Fusion TL8. But our ship has to use the Fusion TL8, so each ton dedicated to the maneuver drive gives 10 power. So we want to get to 140. So looks like we need 14. And we just bump it up to a nice even 15. So 15 tons gives us 150. And that should be more than enough power. We've got some left over. Okay, so now we've got the drives and the power plant. Now we keep moving down here. We need the fuel tanks. Maneuvering drives don't require fuel. We don't have a reaction drive, so don't need any fuel for that. Jump drives, though, 10% of the total tonnage of the ship multiplied by the maximum jump score. And again, that's going to be 20, I think. Yep, 20. And we do the math, that allows it a J1. This ship is not designed to jump to systems where it can't refuel or explore. So it's got just enough fuel to do a jump, and then it has to refuel. We put the bridge in. There are options. I'm not going to look at them. We just basically need to see how much space, 10 tons. We can look at that later. They talk about command bridges on big ships, cockpits on smaller ships. Okay, next we have the computer, and this gets a little interesting. Where is the computer on this one? Yeah, computer 10 fib. Maxed out the computer. Don't know. Yeah, tech level 9, you can get a computer 10. No tonnage. And then the number of cores is, looks like it's a core 50. Computer 10, I didn't put that in. Okay, and then computer options. Hardened system is what we chose, fib, and that increases the cost. The scout ships have this for better jump, but not a concern with this ship. We want to harden it. It may be in combat, so we go with a 10 fib. Then we put in our sensors, and we just do the best we can. Military grade gives us a +0 modifier. So that's pretty much a standard point, 2 power, 2 tons. So I put 2 here and 2 tons here. Okay, and then the weapons we'll look at in a second. Let's work our way through here. Determine the crew. I didn't go through that. I just basically said the crew, when I do it, it's going to be this example boat here. This is going to be the crew. Standard. Fill that in later. Then they give you pay grades and all this, but this is a military vessel, so I don't necessarily have to worry about any of that. Then you got to have enough staterooms for the crew, and I've got, and they take up space and tonnage. Looking at the crew, you got 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 4, 11, 12, 13. Did I put, okay, we put in 15 just to be on the safe side, I guess. I think we got the tonnage for it. Allows 2 riders. And they cost, looks like 4 tons per stateroom. I think I got that by, yeah. You see this one. Staterooms, 15. That's what we did, the same thing, 60. Okay, so we do have room for 2 more people after the staterooms. And then basically we can look at cargo space with what's left over. But now we have to take an excursion out to the weapons systems. Okay, the first thing with weapons are you have to figure out the number of what they call hard points where weapons can be mounted. And a ship has 1 hard point for every 100 tons. That's why our scout ships only have 1 turret. But our 200-ton ship here can have 2 hard points. It can be a fixed mount, which can only fire in whatever arc it's mounted. Could be a turret, I think single, triple, double. Could be a barbette, bigger weapon. Could be a small bay, even bigger. Could be a medium bay, even bigger yet. Can't touch the large or the spinal mount because more than 2 hard points, obviously. So again, we have 2 hard points. What do we want to put in here? Without any experience, I just decided to be creative. They are tech level 10, so they can do, well, here's the fixed mount, doesn't cost anything for the mount. The weapon will use energy. But if you get a single, a double, or a triple turret, you need 1 power and 1 ton for those turrets. And you can do even a pop-up, which this ship doesn't need, but that adds 1 here. 10, and that just means if you're scanned, nobody knows the weapon's there. 3 weapons can be done on a fixed mount, and turrets can go 1, 2, or 3. So, looking down here, well, I actually did the barbette, which does give a power of 12. So for weapons, I put in 12 for the power here. So that's in our calculation, and we're covered here. Now, the cool thing about a barbette is you get a damage multiplier of 3. After everything else is calculated, the weapon's bigger damage calculator. And a barbette is like a turret. Larger weapons, more capacity. Like turrets, barbette, 1 chest, 1 gutter. And most barbettes consume 5 tons each. Oops, messed that one up. Glad I'm going through this. So if we look at our, yeah, got it, 5 tons. So they've got a big honkin' beam laser. Beam laser barbettes, heavier hitting versions of turret lasers. Obtain the advantages and disadvantages, DM +4, but they get a 3 multiplier after the damage is calculated, going through the armor and etc. So they've got that. And then for the second hard point, just to be creative, triple missile launcher. I'm going to go with standard missiles for that one. And let's see, they don't talk about a missile rack. Don't conserve any power, but if the missiles get hit, that's 4D smart missiles. So just to mix and match without having any real experience. Playing this through, we got a barbette beam laser and a triple turret missile launcher. And then in ammo, we've got 120 missiles. And I think Yeah, every 12 missiles is 1 ton. Okay. I think that's somewhere in here. I don't have that handy, but here we go. 12 missiles consume 1 ton. All sorts of cool missiles, but I'm just going to go with the standard 4D smart. Okay. Just to keep it simple. Because this is a simple patrol craft. Let's see, and then you can do armored bulkheads, 10% protection of the item, 10% of protected item. So just using other ships as examples here. So let's take our 200-ton one. They did bridge, maneuvering, power plant, and sensors. So bridge, maneuvering, power plant, and sensors. And I throw in the J drive because this is not a system defense boat. So you basically take the tonnage of each of these and add 10%. Does not carry any craft. I guess it can land, it's streamlined, etc. So we're then left with, and I'm imitating actually this guy here. Got a fuel scoop, fuel processor, 20 tons per day. So if it scoops, it's going to take a day to process the fuel to be able to jump again. And it's got repair drones, 2 of them, and it's got med bays. And I just again stole from this 200-ton system defense boat to match those. And then I also looked at the software and gave it similar software. Let's see if I can pull up the software. Okay, here's the information from the core rules about ship software. So you need a maneuver if you got a maneuver drive, and you do need jump control 1. That's what we're going to do here, not including the price here. But now the question is, do I need intellect, verbal commands? No, didn't put that. Well, that's tech level 11, can't touch that. Now it can have evade 1, which it does. It can have fire control 1, which it does, and it can also do, I don't think I included auto repair, but I did include a repair drones, which can be operated for external repairs. So let's look. Let's see if I got that. Yeah, repair drones, med bay. There's maneuver, jump control 1. Oh, I did do auto repair. That's good. Evade 1 and fire control 1. Okay, great. So now I think everything is done with this ship. The only thing we have to figure out, well, put in common area for 4 tons. I think that was an imitation here too. Yep. Kind of the mess hall because we got 13 people. So let me run the numbers again. Okay, did a little rounding, but we get 170 tons with 30 left over for cargo. Okay, so that is our ship here. Tech level 10 small patrol ship, jump 1 capable. Got a beam laser and a barbette and a triple missile turret. Lots of missiles. It can do thrust 3 or 3G and jump 1. Crystalline armor. So that is our Suran patrol craft. Now the other thing I want to look at real quick is, okay, our standard scout. Let's just match this one up. It's obviously not designed for combat per se. So our Intrepid crew, they've got an armor of 4. This is right out of the book here. I didn't have to calculate this. Thrust 2, jump 2. Under pressure, they could jump away. But with thrust 2, they're in a losing battle here. Thrust 3 over this one. J2, double turret, which I load up with beam lasers. I'm just going to assume, they're out on the edge, out on the thing. They'll get the standard dual beam laser turret here. And then this is all from it. You'll notice from a software point of view, they don't have fire control or evade. But they do have maneuver, jump control, true library, and intellect. So a ship like this, I don't know, could two ships like this take that other ship? The weapons aren't as good. I mean, we've only got 2 beam lasers versus more armor and a powerful beam laser, 4D, and a triple missile turret. That's dangerous. So that could be interesting to play out. So what I did was, I said, well, an Intrepid here is a standard scout with beam lasers put in. What happens if we take the Endeavor, which apparently isn't a scout anymore? He's in the occupation of naval intelligence. Maybe they beefed it up. So going with that base scout, what more stuff does it have room for? So the first thing is double the armor, and that's a straight, I mean, 4 is 5, 8 is 10. And then number 2, the thrust. That's, if you get in a combat situation, the higher thrust normally gets the initiative and can open the distance. So guess what? Take this one to thrust 4. Now it has a +1 advantage over the, and this is a tech level advantage, because I don't think tech level 12 can't get to that. I have to find it here. Hold on. Yep, here we go. Tech level 12 allows up to 6, but yes, we're going to do a 4 here. Not going to necessarily max out everything. Like this thing could go with crystalline armor. It could go up to 12 if it wanted to, but it's not going to do that either. Jump drive stays the same, but the power plant needs to be beefed up now, mainly because of the maneuver drive. That's the big change here. You see, it goes up to, actually, here's the modified value. This is, if this is a 4, takes this to 40. Jump drive stays the same, and you'll see the weapons will add, so we'll have 88. And if it's at 15 a ton, we'll bump it up 2 tons to 6 tons. And this is the more efficient fusion plant. 6 times 15, they got 90, so they got power to spare. I'm going to leave the fuel tanks the same, leave the bridge the same. Let's leave the computer the same. Shouldn't be a problem. I'll have to check the rules. Sensors are interesting question here. Let's go to sensors. At tech level 12, you could have improved sensors with a +1. Actually, I'm going to tweak this on the fly here. That would make sense. Summoner, jammers, lidar, radar, +4 and 3 tons. Okay, let's see. And that's not gonna really mess. Improved. Oops.